This is Engadget. Here's what's happening in the world of technology. Today is June 27th. Abusive Valorant players could soon have their verbal tirades come back to haunt them. In a blog post published on Friday, Riot Games outlined a plan to begin monitoring in-game voice chat as part of a broader effort to combat disruptive behavior within its games. On July 13th, the studio will begin collecting voice data from Valorant games played in North America. According to Riot, it will use the data to get its AI model in a good enough place for a beta launch later this year. During this initial stage, Riot says it won't use voice evaluation for disruptive behavior reports. We know that before we can even think of expanding this tool, we'll have to be confident it's effective, and if mistakes happen, we have systems in place to make sure we can correct any false positives, or negatives for that matter, the studio said. Some players will likely bristle at the thought of Riot listening in on their voice comms, much like they did when the company introduced Vanguard, its kernel-level anti-cheat software. But Riot says it sees voice evaluation as a way for it to collect clear evidence against players who take to comms to abuse and harass their teammates. The tool will also give the studio something it can point to when it provides sanctioned players with feedback. This is brand new tech, and there will for sure be growing pains, Riot said, but the promise of a safer and more inclusive environment for everyone who chooses to play is worth it. And Apple plans to release a deluge of new products this fall and in the first half of 2023, according to Bloomberg's Mark Gurman. And while many of the devices the company is reportedly working on won't come as much of a surprise, one is interesting. In his latest Power On newsletter, Gurman reports Apple is readying a new HomePod speaker that will look and sound similar to the original 2018 model. As you may recall, the company discontinued the HomePod in 2021 without announcing a direct replacement. If you want a smart speaker with Siri built in, your only option at the moment is the $99 HomePod Mini. According to Gurman, the new model will feature Apple's forthcoming S8 chip and an updated display on the top of the speaker that may include multi-touch functionality. For context, the HomePod Mini features an S5 chip, suggesting the new model will come with more processing power. Presumably, Apple also plans to price the speaker more competitively than it did the 2018 model. At $349, the HomePod was one of the more expensive smart speakers you could buy at the time, and it never felt like it lived up to that price. Outside of an updated HomePod, Gurman says Apple is working on at least 4 new Mac models and an AirPods Pro refresh, among other devices. You can find the full details of Apple's near-term product roadmap, one of the most ambitious in the company's recent history, on Bloomberg. If you want to catch the latest tech news as it's happening, check out Engadget.com or tune in again every weekday.
Spoken Layer.